I keep trying to time this so that when it goes live, you'll see my hands going. Because what happens is there's a spinny circle of maybe death. I don't know. And so I can never tell exactly when this thing is live. So sometimes I'm sitting there like, is this thing on? And I don't know. So that's why I do that. Anyway, I digress. It's Wednesday. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. I am drinking cold coffee today because I couldn't be bothered to make fresh coffee. I'd say coffee that is left over because I do. I also think it's hilarious that there's certain amount of people who are there and waiting, and then as soon as I jump on to say, "Hey guys," it immediately dips down. Like people are like, "Oh yeah, this is not Alex's channel. My bad." So, oh, what's going on? Pete says it is on. I am assuming that you mean that you can hear me and see me and all of the rest of the things. And thank you very much. I'm actually sort of scrambling in today because I see people talking about it being cold where they are, and it is cold here also. And I scrambled into the shower before coming over here, and then I got out and looked at the time and realized I had exactly 2 minutes to get dressed. Otherwise, this was going to be a very different kind of show. Because Lord knows I don't like being late. But what I did manage to find was the other shirt that Otis sent me. Again, a high quality shirt. Thank you, Otis, for the gear. I'm a big fan of shirts, free shirts. As far as age domains or all of the things, the jury's still out on that. And I have some just updates to share about the project that I will talk about here in the future. Dee says, thank you for getting dressed. And I say, you have no idea how necessary that is. I'm headed to the chat and I see Josh, what's going on? And Sonia, what's going on? Sonia, we haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you. Ginger Trading, first time here though, been lurking for ages. Well done. Welcome and well done. Thank you for jumping in and being an active participant rather than lurking, although lurking and working, there's nothing wrong with that. I also see that we've gotten our first 3 likes, thumbs up. Please go over there and smash that for no other reason than it just makes me feel fuzzy because I don't have anything to give away. Margaret, our budding, our growing celebrity, Margaret won our top community performer award from Ezoic last week. And that's our Margaret. There are no other Margarets. Even if there are other Margarets, that is our Margaret. There's Adrian. What's going on? And Keith. Keith is having a big month. Keith, I was looking in the Icarus project spreadsheet, and you were having a good month, even though you were saying something about your VA not being with it. Like, I would say that this month is going all right. How do you feel, Keith, about the month? Because I feel like it's looking pretty darn good. There is Chris, and everybody knows that it's Chris's fault. If something goes wrong, it's always Chris's fault. And I have not seen Carl yet, but Carl, if you're catching this on the replay, please put it in the comments. What is for tea? Everybody would like to know. There is Sarvesh and Eric. I love seeing people from the Icarus Project Icarus, the spreadsheet popping in to come in and either just mingle or to be held accountable. I have to admit that I fully failed last week. I think I signed out from this stream promising that I would come back the next week having completed all of the content for the month for Project Icarus, and I did not. I had kind of a low energy week and I had some personal offline things, and so I didn't do it. So I still have to get it done by the end of the month. And luckily or conveniently, I have a couple of days to work. And so it's just gonna have to happen. I'm gonna have to make it happen. There is Sabina and Maeve. What's going on, Maeve? I have been looking in the spreadsheet at your column, and it also looks like you have been getting stuff done. And I wondered, how do you feel for the month? You feeling good? Or are you feeling like you could do more? I also wanted to shout out folks who took my instructions, my request last week to go and give a neighbor nudge to the folks in the spreadsheet. I really like seeing the activity in there and just saying hey to the people who are around us, and maybe it would be a chance to get to know other people. So for those of you who did the neighbor nudge, that's a big thumbs up from me. Actually, two of them, not just one, but two. Thank you for doing that. There's Ariel Phoenix, another YouTuber in the house who has a channel who is making websites. So if you need someone else to follow who does income reports and is building websites, that's someone to follow. Zach says, thanks, Otis, for keeping that PG rating on the procedural games. So I have been checking out your Adam. I've been looking at your column. I'm wondering how this month is going for you. It sounds like you were sick earlier in the month, and it's just what's going on. Like how are you feeling about how things are going? I'm Ginger says her name is Gina, not Ginger, but I'll answer to both. Okay, well, I'm working on the memory part of remembering who is who and what is what. So forgive me if I don't get it right away, but I will eventually. You just have to keep coming to the streams, right? The more you come to the streams, the more likely it is that I will get your name. Josh says that he hit his Icarus marks already for January. Well, that calls for the sound effects. Ready? That was for you, Josh, right there. Now, what I would like in response is a dad joke, like a really good dad joke. Ooh, I do have. All right, we should be talking about websites, and in fact, I have a list of stuff to talk about over here. But I got told the funniest kid joke the other day, and it's so. It's not even that clever, but I laugh literally every time it comes up. And so I will digress, and we'll talk about sites in a minute. But here is a dad joke that came up to me, and it made me laugh, and I have retold this joke about 4 or 5 times. You ready? I will give you a chance to put your answers in the chat. What? Okay, and keep it PG, by the way, also. Your answers need to be, like family. This is a family-friendly stream. What is brown and sticky? Right? And so you can imagine when you give this potential riddle joke to a bunch of 7-year-olds, what they would imagine, the potty humor, So I'll give you guys a chance to think about what is brown and sticky, and then I'll answer it. In the meantime, I want to briefly go back over to the Icarus spreadsheet, and also thank you to those of you who dropped a quote in the quote section. There were some good quotes in there, and I love that somebody dropped my own statement into my column, focus, because that was my mantra for last year. But the quote that I put a couple quotes in there. But the quote that I put in there, and I have to blame Chris for this because Chris turned me on to the Daily Stoic YouTube channel. And so now I get the posts that he puts in his community posts in my feed. And the quote I wrote down, which was, you have to assemble your life yourself, action by action. And so for me, that's Marcus Aurelius. That is not me, right? But it really, to me, speaks to me for websites, because when we are building, or even just online business, right, when we're working for ourselves, it's something that we have to assemble for ourselves. You can outsource it, right? You could try, but there's really no substitute for doing it yourself and like learning each step of the way. And so for me, that one really spoke to me. Keith wrote down a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. He said, believe you can, and you're halfway there. So again, back to mindset. Let's see. Sarah is dropped Hippocrates on us. Says that's that which is used develops. That which is not used wastes away. These are good thinking. All right. I'm going to go check the chat to see if anybody has got my joke. Zach says a tree with no leaves. Keith says packing tape. Nicotine gum, toffee sauce. Yes, it's a stick. It's a stick, right? But it's just so funny to me what's brown and sticky. And so you have the kids running around thinking of all these things like maple syrup and melted chocolate. And then you get to yell, it's a stick. And then they just fall over laughing and you feel like super clever. And maybe that's what I like about it, is that I like the opportunity to feel super clever for a minute because it is so rare. All right, I'm scrolling back up to the chat just to see. Oh, Mersic, what's going on? Yes, we are live. Um, Chris says, I vote we shelve these terrible jokes. Har, har, har. Keith says he's getting stuff done, can't complain. The VA is sick, so productivity's down, but it's a temporary setback. Definitely. Eric says, I have a question. I know that anchor text has some importance for people who do link building. We should not have too much anchor text optimization. Yes, it does have some importance. And the thing that I think more than anything is that it is about balance, because if you are targeting a specific keyword and the anchor text that you have in your site, like you have overwhelmingly the link, the hyperlink is the keyword, like all over the site. I think that that is when you can get into trouble. But otherwise, like as long as you have sort of a widespread of the different kinds of anchor text type links, that you're going to be okay. Was there? He says, What is your opinion about anchor text for internal links? Does it matter? For me, I still think it's about balance, and so I wouldn't overwhelmingly do it one way or the other because it doesn't seem natural to me. But I will throw that to the chat, and for folks that have not addressed that question, what do you guys think? I just think it should, and maybe it's because I've been listening to Matt Diggity, and I listened to one of his webinars about about links and about anchor text, and just about having it seem more natural, having some different kinds versus different kinds. But I want to know what other people think. Come Across says he wants to join the accountability spreadsheet, but I don't know how it works. There's a link in the description below, and it's just a Google spreadsheet. So you just go over there and create yourself a column on the far right side. So all the way on the end, and I'm looking at it right there, which is why I keep going over there. And then just put your name in, put your goal in, and then you don't have to pay. You don't have to do anything. Although I would appreciate it if you join, that you actually, come in and update us and be held accountable. Let's see. Chris says that internal link anchor text doesn't really matter. That's what Chris says. Maeve says, yes, good, annoyed with external agency and writers. Out of 30 outsourced articles, only 2 back, which is frustrating. But hey ho, keep on trying. Well, let me tell you, in December, I dumped close to $3,000 into ordering articles, and very few of them have come back yet, because I think what I really think is happening is a lot of people also did bigger orders at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. And so I don't think that they have been able to get to them. And so most of the content that I ordered at the end of December still hasn't come back yet. So I'm crying for about, I'll even go look right now, because it's pretty sad how many articles I'm sitting on. Let's see, 49 articles I ordered at the end of December that still have not come back yet. So I don't know, just keep pushing forward and doing my best to not be annoyed by it, and finding other places to try to get content. Adrian says that you can be a bit more aggressive with anchors for internal links as long as it makes sense. Don't overdo it. That's good advice. Dee says that she's reaching out to writers individually. People laughing about my harmonica. Yes, well, apparently to keep up with the Joneses here, I mean Alex, I need sound effects. So this is my my nod to sound effects. Let's see. Josh says, stop looking for a match. For the perfect match, use a lighter. That's a good one. Brown, but so people are answering my stick joke now. Thank you, by the way, for humoring me with my elementary school, primary school humor. Josh with another joke comes in. He says, have you heard of that new band 1023 megabytes? They're pretty good, but they don't have a gig yet. That's a good one. That I like anything that gives me like a minute, like to hee, like it's like, that's a good one. Eric says that he's also into stoic stuffs. Yeah, I thank you, by the way, again, for Chris for pointing me at that. I am so sometimes the chat, like it's going on, I'm scrolling, and then it just bumps to the bottom, and then I have so if I'm standing over there, sitting over here looking at this for a minute, it's because I'm trying to figure out where I am. Sabina's got to go. I barely had a chance to say hi to her. Maybe she'll catch this on the replay. Josh has got more jokes. He says, just got fired from my job at the keyboard factory. They told me I wasn't putting in enough shifts. I'm gonna have to use some of these. I mean, I'm going to go use them on my children. Oh my goodness. Oh, I was trying to take control of the factory. Oh my goodness. There's John. What's going on? He said he's got 10 more posts to publish and looking good to get 100 posts. That is an amazing effort, especially since I think, John, you started your original goal was like what, 30 for the month? Um, And so that is quite the effort for this month already. Carl, we've already wanted to know what is for tea. And I can see people asking about the tea. And I just saw that Carl is here now. Um, so John Dykstra canceled on affiliate gathering. Is that true? I'm super curious about how that plays out. Let's see. Sonia says that she bought a new theme and had some issues. Yeah, sometimes changing themes is a pain and a hassle, which is why I try to avoid doing it. Let's see. I'm scrolling. Ariel says she likes to switch up the anchor text. Sometimes here, sometimes a keyword. Hate to force it though. And Carl is making carbonara pasta. You know, Carl, I feel like that's what you were making last time we asked you. And I'm wondering if maybe, the menu choices are just getting maybe a little old, like kind of, I don't know, maybe there needs some new life here. Maybe this is something that can be outsourced. Oh my goodness. There's our friend Game Guy. Says he's working and lurking. Well, thanks for dropping in and letting us know that you are here. He says he had a goal of 2 posts before today's call, and I'm at 1.5. You're going to get there. I know it's going to happen. So I wanted to go over to the list of stuff I planned to talk about. One, I wanted to just briefly talk about the age site case study because people talk big about these age domains, and Adrian is in the chat going, "Yes, they're amazing." But it's a question of, okay, like let's say I go and get this age domain, and then what happens? Like, how does it compare? So and just to recap for folks who don't know what this is the Otis case study that I'm doing, and Otis has sponsored it with the domain. There's a link in the description if you want $100 credit. But the on day one, so on January 1, I posted 1 article, and then since then I posted another 13. So right now there are 14 articles on the site, and I need to get to 25 for the month. I'm not there yet. That's another problem I'm having. But I submitted the sitemap to Google Search Console on the 14th. And so it was like, okay, like, will the site start getting traffic to those articles, and when will stuff start showing up? And so there have been a couple of impressions showing up. The purple line has gone up and down a little bit, like 1 or 2 a day, but all of the articles so far are still sitting in the, I'm putting up my air quotes, discovered but not indexed tab. So not the crawled but not indexed, but discovered but not indexed tab. And I can see that 1 or 2 of the articles, the first 2 that were posted, have bounced in and out a little bit. But for the most part, everything is still sitting in the discovered but not indexed tab. So normally, I could care less, right? Because with a fresh domain, a brand new site, you'd be like, yeah, that's totally normal. I wouldn't expect to see anything for, weeks or months. And you just go on and like work on creating content. But when it's this other type of domain, and when kind of the purpose of this project for me is to see whether or not it's worth it to go down the road of investing a couple $1,000s. Like if I had bought this domain, it would have cost me between $2,000 and $3,000 US. I can't remember honestly exactly how much. But is it worth it? And how, is it better? And so far, I haven't seen like you see people come back. They're like, "Ooh, it was instantly indexed and then instantly getting traffic." And The site is not instantly getting traffic to these new articles. The articles are getting some traffic though, just not from organic Google search, at least yet. So again, keeping in mind that this is an age domain, but it's still only technically 26. The project is 26 days old. So I don't have an opinion yet. Is this a win or a loss or any of those things? Because I don't know. I actually should go back and compare the first month in the purple line to see how it goes up against the new site, just to see how it goes. I'm curious, but again, it's like people who talk about instant magic, not having instant magic. Some of the previous articles on the site that have been 301 redirected to other places on the site are still getting traffic, which is cool, right? You could say, oh, like I mean, unfortunately, those are articles that I cannot recreate because it's beyond my technical knowledge and ability. Like, but the site is still alive and getting traffic. But yeah, just not the magic. So I'm still waiting for the magic, and I will let you know should the magic happen. So far, SERP Robot is like 0 out of 14 found. Every one of them is not found. So we'll see. We'll see if next week, if that makes sense at all. Let's see. Back to talking about anchor text for internal links. Zach says that he tries to keep his anchor text varied, but always keyword related, and 2 to 6 words if it is a highly unique brand name. Carl confirms that John Dykstra pulled out. Okay. John Dykstra canceled. Sorry, canceled his speaking, but have added 3 new guests and made. So who are the new guests? I'm curious now. Let's see. Mersic says, do you like to listen to new age music while blogging? I tend to listen to lo-fi beats. There is Pastor Duke. Last week, Pastor Duke, I just wanted to say that you had mentioned something in the chat about like reminding us that it was a great day. And I appreciated that. Because that is something to think about and to just reaffirm, even though we're like talking at each other about sites and whatever else, like every day in some way is a great day. So thank you. And so, like I said, I just saw you in the chat and thank you for that. More dad jokes. Why were the utensils stuck together? Oh my God, it's a comedy cut up today. Oh, here's Chris. If you don't appreciate your husband's fruit jokes, you should let that man go. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Dee says now John won't be having a pre-event. Are you going to have one? So here's the thing. I was talking to a good friend last week who's thinking about joining Facebook for the first time, and he's my English teacher from when I was in high school, and he has not joined Facebook, and he's like, but what if nobody likes me? What if I go through all the effort to set up a profile and nobody wants to be my friend? And I kind of feel that way about setting up my own event, considering I don't even have plane tickets yet. So yeah, what if nobody came? That would be sad. I don't know if I would recover from that. Ariel Phoenix is going to speak at Affiliate Gathering. That's cool. That's awesome. Gina is a West Yorkshire Yorkie, will be in York in May, which is awesome. I'm like getting all of the updates right here in the chat right now, which is awesome. Carl says that he made 3 dinners tonight. He made carbonara pasta for himself. His wife got jacket potatoes and salad, and the kids had sausage casserole. So in my family, it's you get what you get, you don't throw fit. So I guess you could never come here and hang out because then you would spoil them by making them things they actually wanted to eat. And my kids just like, well, I don't make them eat it, right? I don't say like, you must sit there and eat until it's done. I just say, if you don't want it, breakfast is in 12 hours. Good luck. Usually they eat it. Let's see. I'm behind. I'm catching up. I'm catching up. Let's see. James says that he is starting an H domain from Otis today. Looking forward to see how it goes. Well, keep us updated. I'm really curious about how that will play out. I hope you use somebody's link. I don't care. I don't even know if mine is an affiliate link, but I hope you use somebody's link to get $100 credit. I do have, and I guess I should work on getting the schedule, but Otis did agree to come on the live stream, like somebody, not the whole company on the live stream, but to send someone and that we would do a giveaway. And I think they were willing to do a $1,000 credit for their platform. So that could actually be a pretty sweet deal for somebody who was like actually interested in pursuing one of those. So I guess if that's something you're interested in, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. We have a friend from Greece. What is going on? Thanks for dropping in. Welcome. I'm scrolling. Let's see. Adrian says, try to interlink from those recreated articles, the 301, to the new ones if it makes sense, might help index. That's a good idea. I may go and do that. Pastor Duke says, any day we are alive and breathing, living our best life, it is a good day. Just please come into the chat every week and remind us. Thank you. Carl says, the new folks are Ariel Phoenix, who is in the chat today, which is awesome. Abdullah, owner of Hands Off Publishing. So I have followed them a little bit on social media. So it'll be cool to get to know them. And Tyler from Mozoic is going to run a workshop. Awesome. I'm just saying, as far as like a meetup event, like my own insecurities just running rampant right now, especially going up against the other folks that are having pre-funks. Like, I don't even know what I would do. Yeah, John is moving house. Yeah, that's a bummer. I was hoping to give him a hard time because that's what I do best, apparently. Adrian reminding people to smash the like button. Thank you very much for that. I forget. I mean, I don't know that it actually does anything, but I guess it does make me feel good. I don't know. I am scrolling. People talking that there is Jasper. Okay. So I feel like everybody is here. Oh, not everybody, but there's a lot of people here, which it's cool to see, especially for those of you who are in the Icarus spreadsheet. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, and I'm going to ask people in the chat to own up to, even though you are lurking and working, is to give me one thing that is working for you this month and one thing that isn't. And how that plays out and what you're going to do about it. For me, one of the things that is working is having templates. So just using like templates for my SOPs for ordered content, but also for the written content. Like I went into a keyword cluster that was very, very similar, but there's certain aspects of it that would be changed. And the example I always give is like, can rabbits eat spinach? Can rabbits eat bananas and such? But for me, just because I'm having a hard time being inspired enough to create content, is I started the cluster, and rather than like just do an article from this cluster, this cluster, this cluster, I said, okay, I'm going to stick on one cluster, and then created a template article, like wrote one of them, and then basically just doing similar headings. So okay, I know that the next article I do, the H2s are going to be this, and the H3s are going to be this, and the title is going to be this. And I know generally each part of this is going to be X, Y, and Z. So that for me is working. Like it is helping me once I sit down to actually get to an article at the end. Another thing that I have started doing this month that is helping is doing, they call them like Pomodoro, like where you set a timer and then you have a specific amount of time that you're on and off. And while you're on, you shut down things like social media or phone or whatever, but you don't do it for hours, right? You don't do 4 hours. You just commit to like 25 minutes at a time. So I set the timer for like 55 minutes. I'm like, all right, I'm going to crank this article out in 55 minutes. It was almost like a race. And I had the timer going and I was like, it kept me here, right? Because I was looking at the timer and I was looking here, and I was timer and here. And like anytime I would see myself going like this, I'd be like, oh yeah, the timer. And so for me, it helped me stay on track for that time. And also I knew that once that timer was up for the 55 minutes, that I would get a break and then I could do whatever I want. I could get up and walk around. And I knew that the break was coming versus just sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to just work like in perpetuity until I get tired and I'm ready for a break. It helped me get, so the article, like that style article was taking between 90 minutes and 2 hours to do. And when I tried it that way, it still took me over an hour, but I was done probably in an hour 15 versus an hour 45. And it made me realize that the reason that particular article was taking so long is because when I would go to do research, I might also open up a window and check my Facebook or like write a message or do something else. So for me, those things are working, right? To try to get more stuff done. One thing that is not working for me is trying to get to the computer after the kids go to bed. It's just not. It's just not. Um, and so I am not going to beat myself up for having a full day and then putting the kids down and not working from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. I'm not going to feel bad about not being able to do that. And I was kind of beating myself up about that because I was like, this is another way to get stuff done. No, I don't sit around during my days at all. And I cannot run myself into the ground, which is what I will probably do if I continue to do that. So that is not working. And I'm just going to be kind to myself and let it go and just get done what I can get done. And so be it. What about you guys and gals and ladies and gentlemen? Let me see if anybody else has some to share. D says, working, sticking to her 2022 publishing plan, not working, finding writers. Yes, that is a challenge. And actually, folks, if you are in the chat and you have writers who might need more work, or you're looking at shifting up how you're getting your content and you would like to recommend them to anyone else, like the chat is also a good place to to connect. Say, okay, I have writers who need more work, or I have writers and I guess that's what I mean. Is like I just need them less. I mean, they just need, okay. I think everybody knows what I mean. And I'm going to take a drink of my coffee just now. Here we go. Jasper says one thing that is working for him is finding a cluster of hundreds of low competition search queries and struck gold a few days ago. That is a big high five, friend. That always feels good. Carl says that he bought 2 aged domains. One needed 7 pages redirected and 2 posts recreated, then redirecting. The other domain didn't need to do anything, all leaks valid. That's exciting. Well, I'm curious and excited to see how those play out and if those were good investments, because ultimately that's where we need to get to, right? To say, okay, was that domain a good investment of my money, or could I have gotten the same result with a fresh domain without like the risk and the concern and the money? P says, how do I know that Jasper in the chat isn't? Ariel says, that's a good idea. Setting the timer, going to try that. Yeah, I think it works pretty well for studying too. You know, if you just say, okay, I know there's a break coming up, so I can focus like 100% on this, knowing that I will get to check my whatever that I like to do to distract me during that break time. Pastor Duke says he's working 23 articles published last week, which is a great effort, by the way. Not working, watching analytics. Yes. Last year, many of you will recall that I did a no-look November. And what I did sort of in no-look November was, I want to say, detox. It basically changed my, I guess, habit that I had a habit formed of checking my phone multiple times during the day to look at traffic. And what it didn't do was cure me, right? I'm not cured of my analytics checking addiction, but what it enabled me to do was to, one, recognize how often I was checking it, and that I was checking it in times when I needed to be plugged into either my family or at the store, or just in situations where I had no reason to be looking at my phone. And what it has allowed me to do, honestly, is I get up in the morning and check it once. And then the only other times I'm in analytics during the day is if I'm actively looking for a specific piece of data for a specific purpose. So I don't go into analytics basically at any other time in the day, either for earnings or for traffic. And there are some sites that I just don't check every day. Like the sites that I do check in the morning, curious, like, how did it do? Because it's just so fun. But I don't need to check it in the middle of the day to say, how did today compare to yesterday? Or, it's noon. How's the day going? Like, I don't do any of that. So I highly, highly, highly recommend an analytics detox if you feel like you are losing time and motivation because of looking at analytics. Carl's got to go. Carl, see you later. Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate you just stepping in to say, hey, what's up? Eric says, what's not working for me right now is formatting articles. Yes, that's it. It takes work. I don't want to do it either. Adrian says that he's redone his SOPs dyno list for each website and customized it for each type of article. That sounds like a good investment in time. There is Stiggs coming in with upside down and backwards username, handle name, and all caps. And for that, my friend, you have earned yourself a also more sophisticated sound effects for you, my friends. You're welcome. Adrian says that's what is not working for him is not writing enough, and I'm also suffering from that right now. I got to figure out how to get more content written, not just posted, but written by me. Eric talking about setting the timer. He says that is a good idea. Set a timer. I measure my time, but the timer is a step ahead. Yes. Josh says that he is 100% focused on he is focused on 100% me written content as he is averaging an age content over. So basically, Josh is writing all his content right now. I think that's what I got from that. Gina says working more eye breaks, not working, trying to hire writers as well. Always stressful. Yep, there's a lot of people who are in the content push mode right now and looking to hire writers or just to get more content, and that is the struggle, right? Because I've been talking a little bit about hiring writers directly, and I've talked to one or two people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I think I could probably do, 4 or 5 articles a month." And you're like, 4 or 5 articles would help, but you think, okay, most of these folks have other either jobs or they have other sites or they have other things and other clients. And so when they're looking at taking on more work, usually they're not looking to take on another 50 to 100 articles a month. They're like, okay, well, I could do 10 articles. And you're like, that's great, except I need 200. You're like, okay. I mean, you're looking at having to hire a lot of people and finding and training a lot of people. That's intimidating. Ariel says, I have too many tabs open. Yes, it is easy to get distracted. You're like, ooh, what is that thing over there? You delicious thing I want to look in. She gets anxious when she tries to close them. All right, well, that's something for you to work on between now and next week is closing some of those tabs. Not all of them. Just cut out like a quarter of them. And then maybe the week after you could cut out another 25%. And then before you know it, you'll just be down to like 50 instead of 100. Game Guy says, what is working? He changed to the Akabata theme and page speed improved. Not working. Carving out time for writing. I get distracted. Yes. I find that for me, I have to have a greater reserve of mental energy for writing than I do for doing things like editing content or ordering content or doing interlinking or doing other admin tasks. So if you're struggling to get stuff written, maybe it's the energy bucket that needs to be addressed and less about carving out the time. Because if you can find the time to sit down and the writing still isn't happening, then just finding more time probably isn't going to do it. It's like, what is it that is preventing me from actually sitting down and producing a piece of quality content? And that may be the challenge. Eric says that he wishes he had a third screen. Right now I have 2, and I could probably run a third screen, but what I probably would do is put stuff on it that I probably don't need Things like, oh, I'll just put my YouTube video over there that I can, find myself looking at. I probably just, two is probably enough. It really is. Procedural games. He says, I keep picking short articles that require lots of research. Looking to change that to an easier set of keywords that I can write for that have similar content templates. So, speaking of changing clusters, so those of you who have followed the channel know that I started a site in a competitive niche last July. It's my codename Fight site. It's in the legal niche, and it has been plagued, like massively plagued by indexing issues. So far, as of January 26th, so you've got July, August, September, October, November, December, January, almost 7 months. 41 of the 105 articles on the site are indexed, but it was super pathetic a couple weeks ago because it was worse. I decided to just dump the keyword cluster that I was working on and then go into a cluster that was heavily templated, right? Just very similar cluster that I would just work through and just do it for all 50 states. And the information was not difficult to find. And there wasn't a lot of competition for those keywords. And, there's zero volume keywords, but I think, okay, if somebody's searching for it in this state, why wouldn't they be searching it for these other states? I mean, it's a risk, right? Nobody else is writing on this keyword, but I think, okay, well, if somebody's searching for this question in Washington, I mean, maybe people are looking for it in Florida and it's just not coming up in keyword tools or whatever. But that cluster indexed almost immediately. In fact, almost the whole thing, 90% of it is of the articles that I wrote this month have indexed. So all the other apparently garbage that I wrote last year makes me wonder if it was just too competitive. Maybe it required a greater level. I'm putting on my quotes. I mean, I haven't honestly diagnosed what the problem is because it could be niche specific, right? It's not just anybody who's having indexing problems, they could just switch the cluster to something else. But isn't that interesting? Because you think that if a site overall was having indexing problems, that it wouldn't necessarily matter what you were posting. It should have indexing problems. But it's not. Those articles, I mean, on like the history of what's going on, you think, oh, just post more stuff and it won't index, but the whole cluster indexed. And the old stuff, even if you resubmit it and ask it to be manually indexed, is not. Still not. So I guess what I should take away from that is to not work on those old clusters anymore and then focus on the new stuff. But I don't know what the takeaway is from that to apply to my other sites potentially, or the new site as far as what sort of information I don't know what I just learned. But I will just say that as far as a tactic goes, something to think about if you're having indexing troubles, that maybe trying to change up the cluster and see if something happens, because I was kind of shocked. I'm still sort of shocked, as you can see my face. I'm like, I don't know why, because I don't really know why. Anyway, I wanted to share that. And I do have plans to make the month 7 video for that site maybe this weekend. But yeah, that happened. I'm going over here to check the chat because I am behind. The production quality of the show is going through the roof. Yes, well, I have 2 sound effects now. 2. I mean, just look how far I've come. I mean, I went backwards when the cable for my actual real microphone died. So I feel like we're going in the right direction again. Pete says he finds that it takes time to train the writing client. I would totally agree with you. It probably does. Jana, what is going on? How's the month going for you? Do you feel good about progress? Do you feel like you've been able to make things happen? Soren is in the chat, and Soren ran into a hiccup this month with, I think, COVID issues, like quarantining. So I'm curious how things are going. How are things going? We miss you. What's going on? Let's see. Chris says, I think the quality of content is going to become more important than quantity. If you're playing the low competition quantity game, you'll be fishing in the same waters as AI spam sites. I think that is a good point. Stig says it is strange how 200 posts is a common tipping point for my sites, at least. So is it the 200 posts, or is it how long it took us to get there? Right? I mean, could you put 200 posts on the site in month 1 and have it be the same as 200 posts at month 7 or month 9? I feel like it's got to be on at least a fresh domain, 200 posts plus some time. Zach says, check out onlinejobs.ph. Yes, I have looked at it, and I have a hard time. I can't even admit this. I have a hard time paying for access to stuff like that. So they want to take my money, and these platforms. I'm not being critical. Everybody's got to make money, right? It's just I'm so conservative about spending money sometimes, and it's like I have to work up to um, spending money on things like memberships and like tools, and so I have looked at it before, but I couldn't bring myself to spend the money. Oh man. Yeah. I've got issues, right? Pastor Duke says that he has too many other things going on in offline life to manage a team of writers. I'm also running into that right now. I took on a bunch of things last year during COVID that seemed innocuous and didn't take up that much time, but then school came back, and then I have all these other goals, and all of a sudden I'm like, I may not be able to continue to do all these things if I want to work at my at the level that I would like to be. Like, you see these little dark circles right here? It's because I'm not sleeping as much as I should, and I'm a little tired, and that's not sustainable long term. Is Jarvis Jasper now? And is that true? And then I want to know why. I mean, they've like it was conversion.ai, and then it was Jarvis, and now it's Jasper. And I'm wondering if they got hit by a like a trademark situation where somebody else is using Jarvis, and they're like, we named our tool after a trademarked thing, and now we have to completely change it. Pastor Duke, just to finish his comment, he says for him it's either buy sell text, text on, or Jarvis, aka Jasper. Yep, I concur. I'm using Writer Access, and I'm also testing out buy sell text as a backup to Writer Access, because it seems to me though right now that the articles that I had put up are starting to get picked up now, which is great. But it would be nice to have more than one content source sort of dialed in, so that if one isn't going well, then the other one would hopefully be going well. So I don't just like get it ground to a halt, which is where I feel like I was this last week. Also, I see that there's like 39 people hanging out on the stream, which makes me think there's a lot of people lurking and working. That's totally fine. Please lurk and work. But I love knowing that you are here in the chat, and feel free to just say, hey, lurking and working. And then we will I will pat you. I will pat myself on the back for you for being here and lurking. I am scrolling because we're talking about Jarvis, and I think I'm understanding the Jarvis and Jasper comments right now. Maeve says, is the takeaway to really focus on one cluster and complete? I don't know. That's where I'm at right now, because for me, it seems to be the most effective way to get content written when I am writing it. And it also helps to make it easier to know what to link, because you're like in the cluster and you're like, okay, I'm familiar with the cluster now, so I don't necessarily need to rely upon tools or waste time like doing a search. Like, what did I write? Or ordering content, you're like, did I order that article already? Or you forgot that you ordered that article already, or you order it and then it's in the queue somewhere over at Writer Access, and you go and order it from buy sell text. I actually did that. So yeah, maybe the answer to that question is yes. Maybe I think the answer to that question is yes. Soren thinks that the clustering is the way out of indexing issues. That's a good thought. Eric says that the site he started in July of last year is very low competition. The articles are in depth and 1,500 words long, and every time he adds an article, it is almost immediately indexed. Well, I'm first of all, I'm glad that you have a site that is indexing especially because it's not that old. And mine is doing only so-so. So I'm glad yours is doing better than mine. Pete says that he's starting a help group for anyone that is confused. You know what? There could be a live stream for those people who need help dealing with this live stream. Maybe that's what you could host, Pete. Zach says that it makes sense that some clusters would index faster. So prioritizing content that fills gaps in searcher intent. I I think it potentially confronts some theories about why it is that some of this content isn't indexing, or why some of these sites aren't indexing. And I don't know if they're all the same reasons, to be honest. I think there could be many reasons why people are struggling to get content indexed. And it just was interesting to me because the site, for the most part, overall is dead, right? I mean, and there's more than one cluster on the site already. And so why this particular cluster like took off, like I just have to think that it has to do something to do with the authority of the site in the niche that it's in and the competition of the new cluster. But I'd always assumed it was some other like Google Search Console thing or bug. And I mean, it's more complicated than I was imagining. I did find the mouth heart. I only have like 25 of them stigs, so they're not difficult. They're everywhere. They like litter the ground. Jana says that this week was better. 1 video and 3 articles. Short of the goal of 5, but still progress, my dear. Still progress. Maeve says that AI spam sites thoroughly, completely cover the cluster and rank, even though the quality is shockingly bad. Yeah, I wonder how this will play out in the next 6 months to the year. I really do. Soren says that he and the kids caught COVID, but mild. Well, thinking good thoughts for you and hope that you guys recover quickly and that it is that you are able to overcome it and get back to work. Pete says that you would be amazed how many people I've talked to. Oh, so we're talking about writing clients who have no plan. They just say, write about this and 0 layout or examples for style. Well, that's the thing though, is when they do that and then they're grumpy about the content that they get back, you're like, I don't know, man. Like, what do you expect me to do? Read your mind? Let's see. Corey says, and thanks for dropping in, Corey, and saying hi. He says 200 posts is probably just a tipping point for getting your keyword research game on point. He says, I'm 150 plus on my first site and just getting there. Well, friend, some people catch that quicker. I was not one of them. I probably wrote 1,000 articles before I started to feel like my keyword research was on point. I'm not going to lie. Some of us just have harder heads and it just takes longer. So I'm glad for you that you're getting there. And I wish that I had gotten there that quickly. Adam says that you need an Amazon wish list that includes a slide whistle and a tambourine. So actually in the description of this video, I have started an Amazon like resources page. And so when I get a chance, I'll make a note. I will put that in a slide whistle. I will do that if I can remember to do it. Then I could have like extra super awesome sound effects. Thank you for that. Maeve says, is it because they do 500 articles on a cluster? Interesting though, if they are in your niche, they show you the cluster. Yes, you could just go behind them and just take all of the keywords and then just wait for the day that the site gets slaughtered for whatever reason by Google. Disney AI threatened to sue. I'm not following so much of the AI discussion. I mean, I think I am, but let's see. The Disney lawyer. So so it really was the Disney lawyers. So the Disney lawyers are the reason that they have to change it to Jasper. Wow. Huh. Can't fight the mouse. Tom, where have you been, Tom? I feel like I saw you in the spreadsheet a bunch in the beginning, and then I'm scrolling. I'm looking for you. Things got a little quiet. How are you? How are things? He says his niche has a ton of YouTube videos, demonstrations. I don't know if I should link to them or embed them or I'm afraid they will lure people away from the site. So sometimes lately, people have been talking about whether or not it's worthwhile to write the article if YouTube is at the top, because it maybe is a signal that Google or is thinks that this type of content is the most helpful, and that maybe video content would be the best explanation versus written content. And I have had some success beating out those articles, and I just wonder if maybe the written content just wasn't good enough, and YouTube is like, oh well, the video content is better, and we'll show the video content for that until the written stuff is better. I generally have not been embedding YouTube videos in my posts just because I was all freaked out about the speed thing about having like YouTube embedded in there. So yeah, I'm not embedding any videos right now. And I mean, it could lure people away from the site, but I mean, at least you would have gotten them there first. I don't know. What do other people think? Should people should people embed other creators' YouTube videos in their blog posts? And if so, like what are the positives and negatives on that? Maeve says that Jarvis is the name of Tony Stark's AI assistant. Oh, it is. That was a silly thing to do, to name your. You know what? I'm not gonna. I don't even want to get myself sued for, I don't know what, slander. I'm not gonna say anything about it. I think the chat has said plenty about it. Gina says, I'd be interested to hear how happy everyone has been who has used Writer Access, tried it, but the quality was mixed. I think that is the answer. It can be quick. It can be good. I think the way to get the best possible content is to identify one, what types of articles work well on that. And for me, I've gotten the best content back that involves listicles. I've gotten better listicles than I've gotten anything else from them. And yeah, a lot of other stuff has not come back that great and has required additional revisions. But for me, having a really strong template and instructions and also specifics that say what not to do have helped me. So you look through and see the things that people do that you don't like, and then just put a list at the bottom. And I say, if the article contains these, the article will be returned with requests for revisions. And then I just make a list of the things that I've seen that I have had to revise or send back. And that has actually prevented a lot of the stuff that I don't like from ending up in the article. So there's Philip lurking and working. Thank you for saying hi and welcome. Pastor Duke says he tried Writer Access and the article was usable, but not great. Keith said he also had mixed results. Yes. I just take the article that I get and revise it till I feel like it's good enough and then move on. Jasper says that he just recorded an update for his newest site, which is awesome. 70 articles and 0 indexed. That is demoralizing, man. Well, way to go for continuing to do the work on the site. I'll be looking for the video to see how you're feeling about it. Let's see. Wow, it's already the top of the hour. I'll probably be cruising here in a bit. I'm going to do my best to get through the chat. Let's see. People saying hi, stopping publishing. Tom says that he's finding it very time consuming, writing his first article, still working on it. Yeah, you're going to have to hit publish at some point and then just move on with it. It may not be perfect, but you may just have to do it so you can move on. All right, folks, it is the top of the hour. It is almost to the end of January. I will not take top of the morning to you, top of the hour. I am just going to do my best to finish up my content goals for the month as stated in the Icarus spreadsheet. Good luck to those of you who are going to be trying to sprint to get to the end. There will be a February in the Icarus spreadsheet. So for those of you who are thinking about jumping in and you're thinking, oh, should I jump in this month? There will be a tab coming in soon for February, so you can put your name in then. It will not be copying over, so you have to actually affirmatively go in and say, I'm in for February, and put in your revised goal for the month. Wesley is dropping in. Yes, a little bit late. You'll have to catch us on the replay. Folks, thank you so much for dropping in. There was a lot of people here today. I don't know. Did people just not have other fun things to do? There was like 40 people here at one point. That's insane. Uh, but yeah, we'll see you in February. We'll see you next week, and good luck getting to your goals. I appreciated seeing you, talking to you, and working with you. And then we'll see what we can do by next week. See you later, guys, ladies, gentlemen, everyone.